the last time we talked about this pattern, I told you that I was going to have cut all of this out. Well, that didn't happen. Life happened. So I'm going to do that today. I will get all of the pieces cut out and ready to use to make the girl doll in this Vogue Patterns 96.99 craft. I don't know if this number has been reassigned. This pattern was printed in 1980 something, 1986. I don't know if that will pick up, but it's right up in there somewhere. But, oh, sorry, anyway, my plan, as I've described in previous videos, is to make her first, kind of get the whole how to put her together, how to make the hair look less like yarn and more like actual hair, perfect this, and then make this. I am planning to create this female version, the girl doll, as it is printed and as the pattern is, but then I'm going to make this boy version taller, not by a whole lot, but enough that the sizes will definitely be different. She is described as, well, they both are in the pattern described as being approximately 22 inches. I think you can maybe see that wording there. So I probably will end up with a 22-inch-ish girl, and then my plan will be to have anywhere between a 25, 27-inch boy version. So that will require some, finagling of the pattern. But the first thing I have to do is cut out the pieces. Okay, so the way I plan to do this is I have a waste basket down below me so that I can just dispose of the small pieces of tissue paper, and if I have any larger pieces, I do like to save those. I'm using scissors that are only meant to cut paper. That's why there is this around the handle. You get used to having it. I do it so that if I need to send someone else to get a pair of paper cutting scissors, all I have to do is say it is the pair with the piece of fabric tied around the handle. None of the other scissors I have are marked this way, so that way I don't end up having someone use my fabric scissors. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to get started cutting out. It's not something I'm going to record. Most of this will be done off camera. But now that I feel like I've recovered, this injury was not nearly as painful last night as it had been previous nights, and I was actually able to sleep, finally. So my shoulders don't feel as bad. I caught myself like this on the road, so of course my shoulders were hurting, and my left knee took some of that fall. But oddly, for whatever reason, I think I must have scraped across here on the road somehow. I mean, when you're tangled up in dog leashes and dogs, So anyway, now that I've had a good night's sleep and my hand is no longer screaming in pain, I'm going to go ahead and get this cut out. And it will take a while. You have to be rather careful. But one thing I want to point out is try to remember not to have a fan on in the room. And sometimes we just have ceiling fans on and forget they're on. They're just on all the time. I recommend that you turn that off or go into a room where you don't have circulating air. I like to have a fan going, especially in May, but I'm not going to turn my fan on because I don't want this happening with me trying to cut. Or the other thing is I don't want little pieces of this paper flinging around in the room, and that also will happen. Another tip that I have for cutting out patterns is if you need to watch a show, if you're trying to watch a show and cut out patterns, I would recommend that you don't watch the screen while cutting out pieces that have information that is pertaining to the pattern piece printed outside of the pattern piece, because that can get kind of dicey. Like, does this particular information, guide for shoulder strap, slip, piece guide, does that go with this, or does that go with this, or does that go with something else? So, and you're going to want to keep that information, and I will show you how I do that once I come back after I've cut all of this out. So I would start with this right here. This is a sleeve. So I'm just going to cut, I'm not even going to try to cut out the actual sleeve just yet. Just cutting around. And then I'm going to come all the way over to this side where I have another sleeve. I don't have to cut out this right here, and I don't have to cut out across the lower edge. I'm just going to go like so. My goal is I want to cut out these 3 larger pieces. Now I have to sit at my sewing table to cut out patterns. I do not have a place where I can stand up. First of all, physical limitations to my own body will prevent me from being able to do it that way. But I don't have a large table that I would consider using as a pattern cutting out area. Okay, so I've separated these smaller pieces from these larger pieces. I'm just going to go up here. Okay, and then I have this large sleeve piece, this body piece, and this large sleeve piece. And now I've got like a small couple of sections that I can work on instead of trying to manipulate all that pattern paper while I'm cutting out something like this, or even this head. You just have way too much paper flowing around. So if you kind of chop this up into small, manageable pieces, you can set those aside and kind of look to see what else you can do. For example, there's this massive, what is this? Guide for cardboard. Okay, so this is for the hair, I believe, if you were going to do yarn hair. I might just leave this piece alone. I might cut it out. I'm not sure yet. I'll come back to that one. But even so, just cutting those 2 sections out, I have something that's a little bit easier to work with. I do have a body and the cardboard guide for the boy. So I think what I'll do is separate this shoe section and this body section. And also just to be prepared, bring some tape to the table so that if you accidentally cut through something that you weren't meant to cut through, you can repair it before pieces get lost, or edges of corners, or what was that supposed to be? I was going to fix it and I can't remember where it was. Oh, did I throw it away? Kind of thing. So bring some tape. Mine is in my hazel bag. My hazel bag is my little everything bag. And I have some Scotch tape that I keep in there. So just have something available. You know, any kind of tape at all. As long as I can see through it. In other words, I wouldn't want to use masking tape because I might end up covering, you know, something that I need to see. So even though masking tape definitely will burn and it'll melt if you iron on it, you kind of have to have a see-through tape. So if you need to press your pattern pieces and they have Scotch tape or a plastic tape on them, just put a press cloth on top and then you can press it with dry heat. I wouldn't use steam anyway. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get these all cut out and then we'll start talking about what we're going to do and how this is all going to come together. And then I have another project in mind that I want to try, and it's kind of born out of necessity, and I'll talk about that when I'm finished with this. Okay, so here we are back at me having not cut everything out yet, and I knew there was something I wanted to talk about. When you have a pattern that has tiny pieces, which we clearly are aware that there are very tiny pieces for many of the elements for these two dolls, my recommendation is that you get an empty envelope. You might need two depending on the sizes and the numbers and all that. And then go through. So here's the first piece that I cut. I'm going to go ahead and snip it right here. I don't see tiny pieces there, so I'm going to set this aside like so. All right, so here is one that has tiny pieces, and the guide for cardboard number 7, it has on a separate little area to cut two. So I'm going to cut this out. I know that this is a guide for a shoe. And that when you have shoes, you're going to have two. That's a pair. But this right here is the little information that goes with it. That for whatever reason, Vogue decided not to include on this piece. So I'm going to tape it, but I'm not going to tape it down. I'm just going to take my tape I'm going to cut this piece of tape in half. I'll save that for something else. So I have a half width of a piece of tape, and I'm going to put this along the edge right here, and then I'm going to put this on the pattern piece right here. So if I need to see what's under it, I can just fold it back on itself like a little book. I don't think I would have to. I think I'll be able to see what this information is. It's just the pattern number. I don't know what the 624 means. Maybe this number's been used 624 times. I don't know. It tells you a little bit of information about the pattern, that the whole thing is one size and that there are 48 pieces. So, but I don't want to lose this that goes with this. So I know I'm supposed to cut 2, and I need to do it the way the pattern tells me to do it. But because this is a little tiny piece and it has additional information taped, I'm going to keep it in this envelope. I am also going to write on the back of the envelope that piece number 7 is included in this envelope. So if I go through here and I'm frantic, I can't find piece number 7. Oh yeah, and this little envelope will fit inside the pattern envelope. Now if you need to use a larger envelope for the pieces that you have to put, you can do that in reverse, or you can somehow attach this cover to, say, a manila, or even use a Ziploc bag. But I would definitely contain these little pieces in another envelope. They tend to get torn and lost and crumpled, and I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. Okay, so that would be for that one. And then this one, I don't think I need to include in this envelope because it doesn't have additional information. You'd start with 11 and then you would add 12 and then 13. And you are supposed to cut 2 of each, of course. So what I plan to do with this is just cut this out this way. I'm going to leave everything together because every time I make this, I will put this down onto something that I can use to trace. I'll either put tracing paper over the top of it, or I'll trace it onto something using carbon paper. But I am going to just simply fold this. I need to be able to see the pattern numbers. And just put this in the envelope. So if you make notes like that, it's just so simple. Okay, so I will return with many pieces cut and labeled and stored and ready to go in a little bit. I started to put this away and I realized I had not done the number 1 thing that I do, and that is on the front of the envelope I'm going to write Vogue number, what is it, 9699, and what it is. So I'm not left going, what is 9699? I know it's a rag doll, and clothes. Okay, this is clearly piece number 9. It is the side of the head, And I don't want to have to, if I don't need piece number 9, but I am looking for the piece 6, if I write the word 9, then I don't have to wonder if I've picked up piece number 6. I can just say, oh, it's number 9. I don't need this one. I need the other one. You can, of course, write those two numbers on your pattern pieces, both of them, so it's clear and you don't have any question like, oh, did I write it on that one, or what is this? I don't think I've cut that out yet. I haven't seen it. Doesn't mean it's not been cut out, because they are really just all over the place. Oh, here it is. Right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and write the word 6. So now when I fold it up and put it in the pattern envelope, if I'm looking for piece number 9 and I run across this one, I won't even bother to unfold it. Okay, so I wanted to point something out. This was with this. It is 29, the brim for the bonnet. It says cut 1 on fold, and then this little interface was attached to this. So the thing is, I don't know if they mean interface the entire thing, cut 1, it just says cut 1 on fold. It does not say cut 1 on fold and cut 1 of interfacing. So it's going to require that I follow instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this little
rectangle of information
out and attach it to piece number 29. And I'm going to write a note. You have to make sure when you're doing all this taping that you don't get them crinkly or they'll distort the pattern piece. Okay. I'm not going to cover up anything, but again, I've just taped it so that I can open it up, fold this back if I need to. Okay, the bonnet. Apply and fuse interfacing to the wrong side of the brim following manufacturer's instructions. Piece 29 is cut from fabric and is additionally apparently cut from interfacing. Let's look. Whoa, 2 pieces. Okay. All right, dress in the bonnet. Piece number 29 is cut from the fabric as well as from, yes, okay, so you cut 1 on the fold of the fabric and also you cut 1 on the whole thing. So also cut 1 from fusible interfacing. All right, so I have decided time has passed, we'll just put it that way. And I've decided to do a little bit different storage system simply because this particular pattern has so many categories. So as you can see, I have other envelopes here, and it goes in there. These are the cardboard guides, and they are strictly for hair at this that I know. I mean, I can't figure out what else they would be for. And they are labeled girl and they are labeled boy. So my plan is to put these cardboard guides in one of the envelopes that I pulled. So here's another guide for girl. And again, I'm just going to fold them with the number out like that. It has really gotten dark. Let me turn some more lights on. And I promise, I know I keep saying I'm going to get a ring light. I am going to get a ring light. Okay, so this is why folding pattern pieces where you can see the numbers pays off. I'm looking for piece number 9. Piece number 9 was hiding in the fold of piece 28. So I'm going to write on the envelope that piece number 7 is in white envelope. Now, okay. All right, so that's going to really help me keep all of these pieces together and stay organized. All right. All right, so I have the girl clothes, I have the boy clothes, I have the cardboard guide for the hair. That's all 4 pieces. And then I have the tiny pieces. And I did write tiny pieces that it goes to Vogue $96.99, and it is for the ragdoll. But I'm going to, yeah, it's ragdoll and clothes, that's right. And I have labeled what they are on the outside because they're so tiny. It's just easier to read this number and match it than to try to figure it out based on the tiny print on these little tiny pattern pieces. All right, so what I would like to do is, I need to leave this with that.